Okay, so welcome back. Today's second session, and as I mentioned this morning, that knowledge is inherently exist ever since that we exist, and then the reason why we practice this way of the Bodhisattva also to materialize that knowledge that we have inherently exist, or to recognize that the knowledge that we have within ourselves. Even though that we have already inherently exist within oneself, due to this two obscurations, that one the afflicting emotions, and another one is the subtlemost afflicting emotion, which is we call the subtle obscurations. So only two type of the obscurations that we have, by which that we are not really being able to recognize that the inherent, the absolute true nature of mind. By practicing this way of the Bodhisattva, receiving bodhichitta vow, and by practicing this way of the Bodhisattvas, what we are trying to do here is to clean our that afflicting emotions in surface level, and inner subtlemost level, that's obscurations, which then obscure or block that the true nature, and that the true nature of mind, or that absolute nature of mind, or also you can say thatness or suchness or nature of itself, is primarily it's empty, primarily it's pure, and then primarily it's free from all kind of the defilement or this afflicting the emotions. But why we are not really connected that, because there is little bit of the habituals, the mundane habitual tendency that create the block that creating the obscurations or problems. So easily we're not really being able to believe on that. To get the belief on that, and then to get a confidence within oneself, and then we must follow someone who has gone through that path, who has acknowledged, who has already know that the reality, and who have seen that reality, which has mentioned, which has inherently exist within each and every sentient beings. So since we don't have that kind of the confidence that we have that kind of the true nature of mind inherently exist, so what we are doing now is to then follow someone who has such experience, who has already seen those kind of qualities, such as Santideva, such as like right from the Shakyamuni Buddha, and then Guru Padma Sambhava, Avalokiteshwar, and his 6 ornament teachers, such as Nagarjuna, Shantideva, Shantarakshita, and then Chandrakirti, Dharmakirtis, and then Dignaga, and all of that. And then also there are so many other great masters, including Shantideva, and then Ngulchu Tokme, Gyaltse Ngulchu Tokme, who wrote this 37 verses on the practice of bodhisattvas. And then now we have this, we had this His Holiness Pemandu Rinpoche, and now there are so many other great these practitioners. And then, of course, we have the Her Eminence Jetsuma Rinpoche. And now, by seeing and following their path, then we get more confident on it. Just to, it doesn't mean that they will help for you or they will do something for you. It's not like that. They can create the environment, they can create the opportunity, and they can show us the methods, or this, they can give us the encouragement, or instructions. But we have to take a path. We have to take actions by ourselves. Okay. For that, then we have been going through this 37 verses on the practice of Bodhisattva. And till 10th, the verses we already gone through. So now it's the 11th. Dungal malui dagde dwele jung zobe sange senben semle tungs techir dagde shengi dungal dag yangda jewa gelse lakle hins. The practice of all the Bodhisattva is to make genuine exchange of one's own happiness and well-being for all the suffering of others. Since all misery comes from seeking happiness for oneself alone, whilst perfect Buddhahood is born from the wish for others' good. And another translations. All sufferings, without exception, arise from the desire for happiness for oneself, while perfect Buddhahood is born from the thoughts of benefiting others. Therefore, you must truly exchange your own happiness for the suffering of others. This is the way of Bodhisattva practiced. So now, like I mentioned yesterday and also this morning, selfish intentions or self-centered the concept or thoughts is the main root or main cause of keep coming back in the suffering of samsara. When you have that kind of the self-centered, then for that to satisfied self-centered, you then have having a self-centered itself is the ignorance. And that ignorance, because of that ignorance, then to satisfy that ignorance, satisfy that self-centered, then desire will arise. So when that desire not satisfied you, or when you not get what you want or don't get what you want, then that desire can be transformed into the angers. And now when you get anger, then that will disturb your mental state, and that occupied your mental peace of mind. And then you could create so many others negative karma, so that can lead you to reborn into this 3 lower realms. If you are lucky enough to take a rebirth in human realms, you will have so much of the problems, maybe a short life, having so much of difficulties, facing so much of problems, and then enemies, and then a sickness or disease. All of that, it's because of your previous that bad karma or bad actions. So, having a self-centered, having a selfish intentions is the root of sufferings. So, by understanding that, then it says that you should not have the self-centered, the number one, because that all problems comes from there. And now when we talk about the ultimate happiness or bodhichitta or altruistic intentions, now that altruistic intentions, that the thoughts of well-being for others or wanting to help for other is actually how to say root of or the main cause of to go this beyond the suffering of samsara and then how to say, attain the enlightenment. So having that kind of thoughts is essential to all the bodhisattva practitioners. And also this says the practice of the bodhisattva, because these thoughts that we need to cultivate, that altruistic thoughts, to cultivate altruistic thought is the most important for all the practitioners, especially the Mahayana practitioners, because without that you cannot attain the enlightenment. So here also it's saying that having that kind of thoughts is the cause of enlightenment, and having self-centered is the cause of coming back in the suffering of samsara. So this two is kind of the opposite side, opposite directions. Altruistic intentions and self-centered. So you can either have one, you cannot have both. But immediately it's difficult for every one of us to jump up into the altruistic intentions and abandon all in once. That's all selfish intentions. But then step number one, to understand having a selfish intentions is the cause of suffering. This step number one is very important. Now number two, then now you try to not to engage and not to have the selfish intentions one way or others. So slowly then you will be able to maintain that the altruistic intentions, and then eventually you will attain the Buddhahood to benefit all the sentient beings. So this is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. And then number 12, Sudak Dechen Wangi Dagi Nor Tamche Togam Tokto Jugna Yang Luda Lonju Dusum Yawanam Delangwa Jaselagleins. Even if others, in the grip of great desire, should still or encourage others to take away all the wealth that I possess, to dedicate to them entirely my body, possessions, and all my merits from the past, present, and future. This is the practice of the bodhisattvas. Okay, another translations. If someone driven by greed want to rob you or induce others to do so, you should give all you have and dedicate your body, possessions, and all your merit, past, present, and futures, to that individuals. This is the way of bodhisattva's practice. Do you think we ever able to do this? If now when we are practicing, of course we have some we have the name, we have some of the maybe let's say job or bank balance or properties or possessions, and also we have some belongings, including your body, speech, and mind, and also your merit that you have accumulated from your past and present. Even now, you are accumulating the merit by listening this the precious and then pure teachings. So while you are practicing or while you are going here and there, if somebody is want to rob you or somebody wants all your possess and name and money and everything, and they come by themselves or they order someone to do that, and then they come to you to rob your things or possessions or whatever that you have. At that kind of the situations, how do you deal with them? Do you try to protect that and fight to them? Do you, just get angry, or you still too much of attachment with your or greed with your how to say that things that you have and it's about to take away, or you just let it go and take them whatever they want with happily. So here, as a practitioner, it says that if that kind of such situations happens to us, it says that instead of fighting them, get angry or greed or attach with your things, it says that you should let it go. You should let them take whatever they want. Instead of that, you should how to generate compassion towards that person and also dedicate may these things benefits to them, may these things help them, and then also you dedicate not only that positions but then also the merit that you have accumulated, dedicate them, that may these persons, that individuals who has come to rob you, take everything from you, get happy, and then they're satisfied whatever he or she needs. So if you be able to let it go in that way and also dedicate in that way, then it's called this is the practice of the bodhisattvas. If something's that kind of situation happen, and if you're angry and try to fight and then case and court and all of that, then it's considered as an selfish intentions. You're not really letting go down. You still has that attachment, anger, desire, not understanding everything will not last forever. If you understand that everything is not last forever, everything is going to go soon, everything is impermanent, and then whatever that person is coming, if you be able to understand that person also has that the pure natures of mind, the Buddha natures, that's how to say the actual genuine compassions, but due to his ignorance or due to his greedy and desire, that desire, how to say, leading him to rob and then do this kind of the bad karma. When you understand that, then instead of really getting angry to that individual person, you generate compassions, because you know that this person is, by nature, it's a very good person, pure, and then how to say this, compassionate one. But due to that ignorance, that person's doing that things. So thinking in that way, then you could generate the compassions and bodhichitta, and also dedicate all the merit and let it go, and take that all the positions with happily. So that will be the practice of all bodhisattvas. Dagla nyeba chungse me shindu gangda dagi go chuje na nyingje wangi dei dikba nam dagla lemba jalse lagleins. Even if Others should seek to cut off my head, though I have done them not the slightest wrong, to take upon myself, out of compassion, all the harms they have amassed. This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. Even if someone were to cut off your head, though you were completely innocent, you should take the karma entirely upon yourself, and with genuine compassion wish that the person would have no suffering as a result of crime. This is the way of bodhisattvas practice. Now this is the practice of the patient. If somebody bully you, if somebody blame you, if somebody say some bad words to you, even that person want to give you a punished, and then that person wants to cut your limbs or hands or leg, or maybe here it says head. It says that you should not, because you know that you have done nothing wrong, and then you are not deserve that. But yet, if someone come and say that to you, then it says that you should not get angry to that persons. Instead, you should generate to the compassions, and then cultivate the patience at this moment, and then say that this person's out of anger, so out of ignorance, even though I have done nothing, they are punishing me in this way. And of course, there will be the result of it, but then I want to dedicate and pray and generate the compassion that these persons may not suffer of this crime as a consequences. So having that kind of the thoughts, having that kind of the patience, having that kind of the altruistic intention is what we call the practice of all the bodhisattvas. And then number 14, Gangshik Dagla Minyan Natsukba Tongsum Khabar Tobar Jena Yangs Jambi Simji Laryang Dingi Ki Yundin Juba Jalse Laglins. Even if someone says all sort of unpleasant things about you, proclaiming them throughout the universe, in return, you should extol that person's good qualities with your loving kindness. This is the way of bodhisattvas practice. Being a bodhisattva, being a bodhisattva, then how to control yourself, how to protect that precept, as we as this way of the bodhisattva has taught. The way of the bodhisattva has 10 chapters, and that 10 chapter divided into 4 parts. The one is the technique to receive the bodhichitta, which not exist previously. And then second, once you have that kind of the bodhichitta, then how to prevent from losing, how to maintain that. So now this all the practices about how to maintain that. And third one is not only the maintaining is enough, but then increasing is important. So increasing. So part number 4 and dedication. So this is the 4 main part of Bodhisattva way of life. So here is the considered as a seconds. Now you have received bodhicitta, bodhicitta vow. Now how to prevent, how to maintain that precept, how to maintain that bodhicitta vow from losing, then like not to getting angry, practice the patient. And here also says that when someone's say bad things to you, someone's bully you, someone's blame you, someone's say some unpleasant things about you, and all that kind of things which which how to say this, make you sad, and then basically what's that, pull your leg. If somebody is trying to pull your leg, it says that, and that is not for the one in one person, but it's that can advertise, kind of the advertisement in all over the world, in universe. If somebody is doing that kind of things, it says that instead of replying them, instead of saying something or really getting angry toward that person, it says that generate a loving kindness from your depth of your heart, and then instead of getting angry towards that persons, you should praise him and then tell his good qualities, and then generate the love and compassions. This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. So basically what he is saying is, it doesn't matter what other people says, it doesn't matter whether people say blame you, say unpleasant things to you, or other people praise you or say good things to you. It doesn't matter, because that's not going to harm you. But actually it says that you should really thanks to them, because of they create that kind of the unpleasant situations, so that you can cultivate the compassion, you can cultivate the patience, and because of that then you accumulate the merit. If they don't have that kind of the situations, then there is no way that you can cultivate the patience. And if you don't have that kind of if you don't have a situation or opportunity to cultivate a patience, then there are no way that you can accumulate the merit from that. So when you have this kind of the situations, instead of getting angry or try to revenge them, says you should speak only their qualities to returns. So by doing that, then so this is the practice of all bodhisattvas, it says. So that is something that we should understand. And then number 15, domang dubi usu gashigi changni dushing tsigin marnayangs dela gewe shegi dushegi gubar duba gyalse laglehins. Even if others should expose my hidden faults or deride me when speaking amidst great gatherings of many peoples, to conceive of them as spiritual friends and to bow before them in respect, this is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. Now another translations. Even if in the midst of a large gathering someone's expose your hidden fault in an insulting way, perceive that person as your spiritual teachers and bow to him or her respectfully. This is the way of bodhisattva practice. So, of course, now when we're in this world and when we're living in some country or some like global level and some country, some community, and then of course, if you have to live in this world, you have to have the communities or the gatherings to maintain that and now when you have that kind of the gatherings, not everybody says always good. Sometimes they don't like it and they say bad. Sometimes they feel jealous and they say something bad. and always they try to bully someone. They try to pull your leg. They try to make you down, and then also sometimes what happen is, because we are human beings, we everybody do mistake, right? So sometimes we do the mistake that we really don't want to expose. But some of your enemy or some of the persons who don't like you, that kind of the persons, if they found that hidden faults, then they want you to expose, especially the big gathering peoples. And if if that kind of situations happen to you, since you have received this bodhichitta vow, and you are practicing this, and you're trying to cultivate the mind of enlightenment. So if in case this kind of the situation happened to you, it says that you should not really get angry towards that persons, but instead you have to consider him as your spiritual friends or teachers, and then you have to respect, reverence before him. I mean, like bow downs before them. It says before him or she. The reason is, like I mentioned before, if they don't create that kind of the situations, then there is no way that we can cultivate the patience. There's no way that we can generate the love and compassions. Because they do these things, so because of that, we get this opportunity to practice that kind of the love and compassions, and then cultivate the patience. So because of that, then instead of when somebody expose your hidden fault or do something bad to you, instead of getting angry or try to do something harmful things to that, it says that you should consider him as an spiritual friends who try to help you, and respect them. So this is the practice of all the bodhisattvas, it says. Dagi bushin tsevra kyangpi min dagla dai tawra jena yangs dagla dashin tawra jena yangs neki tabi pula mashindu lakpra tsewa jetsi laklins. Even if others whom I have cared for like the childrens of my own should turn upon me and treat me as an enemy, to regard them only with special their fondness and affections, as a mother would her ailing child, right? This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. Another translations: if someone whom you have raised as your own son or daughter returns against you like a deadly enemy, show that individually your deepest love and understanding, like a mother would for her sick child. This is the way of bodhisattvas practice. So, of course, when we have only one child, and that only one child is very much sick, let's say like that person is now not going to live a long life. Very soon that person is going to go. Let's say like doctors say like, now this child is not curable. This child is going to die soon. Then how that mothers feel a love and compassion towards that only child. So same way, when we consider the other persons like my only child, like my very spiritual friends, like my everything's that persons. But instead of that person, if to return, if that person's trying to cheat you, trying to bully you, trying to hate you, or do something bad and harmful to you, to say that if that person's really, create that kind of the situation, then it says that you should more develop, you should develop your compassion and love towards that person's, just remembering that person is only for the temporary now. That is only child that I have, and that child is very much temporary. That child is very sick, something that's the uncurable, incurable or uncure, uncurable child. The disease, something that cannot be cured. So that kind of, if that child has that kind of the disease, then no matter what that child say, or no matter what that child behave, of course I loved, I care, I have the compassions, towards that child, because I know that that child is in a disease and very sick. So in the same way, we also have to generate the compassion and love towards all the sentient beings, just like, having only one child who is sick. That kind of that compassion that you have to generate for the sentient beings. That's what it's saying. Rang da nyamba membi kyoyi ngayal wangi nyethap jena yang lama shindu gube dangi ki chur lemba jalse lagleins. Even if others equal or inferior to me in status should, out of arrogance, disparage me, to honor them as I would my teachers, by bowing down my head before them. This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. Another translations. If someone of your own stations or lower one treat you with arrogance and contempt, respect that individual as you would your teachers. The crowned ornament upon your head, this is the way of bodhisattva practice. Like when you are going here and there, of course, there are so many people, so many friends, and so many sentient beings that even some of them may be the same status as you are, some of them may be lower status than you are. But regardless of who they are, when because out of arrogance or the ignorance, if they show the attitude or react like they are the best and they are the good one, and they try to seduce you or bully you or put down to you, or pull your leg, then at that moment, instead of getting angry to that person's, just like before, it says that see him or see that person as your teachers and respect him, and then bow down to him as you do for your teachers. But the doing of that kind of the attitude is the practice of the all bodhisattvas. So here is basically what here sayings till now. Everything's it says that whether you say knowledge or whether you say ignorance or that afflicting emotions, all this is not come from the physical or external things, but this comes from your mental. This is come from your mind or the consciousness. So now it's completely depend on your mind how you look at that person's, how you see that person's, how you have understand. If you have understand that person's natures, if you have understand sentient beings' natures, and if you have understand your own natures of your mind, then that person never get angry to someone's, I think. Because, for example, if I know that, Gompo has the mental disorder, for example, and then he does some kind of the stupidity things, let's say, idleness things, then instead of, really getting angry or get annoyed to him, if I already know that basically he is very good, but then because of the mental disorder, he's doing this and that, or he's saying this and that, I don't think so that I get angry, because I know the nature of Gompo. He is calm, relaxed, and gentleman. But then all of a sudden, if happens something like that, just because of the mental disorder or something else, then I don't think that I react him something like, or anger, or, the annoyed or anything. So I think similarly like this, like that, if someone, if we understand someone that his or her nature is pure, and then very compassionate one, but yet if that person is creating some kind of the situation or problem, then I don't think so that anybody can, react in that way. So here also it's saying that when that kind of things happen, or that kind of the situation happen with you, you should not react to them, but instead you should respect them, honor them, as you are doing your teachers. So this is the practice of all the bodhisattvas, it says. So when we say bodhisattva or bodhichitta, it is the mind of enlightenment. When I say mind of enlightenment, it means free from all the defilement, free from all the obscurations, free from all this kind of the stain, or the afflicting emotions, all kind of that, free from all this anger, desire, ignorance, greedy, ignorance, all of that. So, so when you have that kind of the altruistic intentions, then to maintain that the practice, then you also need to do those things. And number 18, chowe foshing takdo mi nge chapchen nedang dhengi tapkyang lar dogun diduk dagla lenje chings shumba me bajalse laglains. Even though I may be destitute and despised by all, despised, right? Despite by all, they beset with a terrible illness and plunged by evil spirit. Still to take upon myself all beings' ills and harmful actions without ever losing heart. This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. If you are in the what is, how to pronounce this, WRETCHED, rich, wretched. If you are in a wretched conditions, very poor, despised by others, the fatally ill and troubled by evil spirit, at that time, as an act of the bravery, act of bravery, visualize every being's negative karmas and sufferings coming to you. This is the way of bodhisattvas practice. Okay. So when you, uh, when you are practicing, or when you are like livelihood, of course, there are so many situations that you might face, and for that, of course, to live a life, we have to have the drinks and food and clothes and sleep. Those are very important, you know. So, if you don't have food, of course, you will have that kind of the problems again. And then also, if somebody's want to, how to say, like, despised or despite by, and then also if somebody, I don't know how to put that now. So let's say if you face that kind of the situations, and top of that, also if you are having a very like dangerous disease or very sick that you cannot do anything, or kind of that's mental problems, a mental problem by evil spirit or anything that they lead you to do all kind of this negative things or negative karmas or whatever that things that situation happened to you, and that that about to take your life and all those things. At that moment, you should not feel really sad and lose your mental state, or you give up everything. Top of that, what you have to think is all and everything that sufferings exist in this world, suffering of all the sentient beings, coming towards you, and then they're taking to you. You are taking to them, and your compassions and your love and your good qualities giving to them. So it's kind of the exchanging things. And all kind of this that the scene that sentient beings has created, all that you taking it, and all the problems or all the suffering that all the sentient beings suffering, also are taking it, everything's, and then you never discourage yourself and be a very much bravery or the courage of, and then practice that, especially this you not lose to take the other sufferings, and not to give up taking other suffering and the sin, and not to be like greedy to give generous to others. So this kind of the practice is all the practice of this all the bodhisattvas. This one is a little, I couldn't find the perfect words, I think. But yeah, it's like this. Oh. Okay. Number 19. Nyembra dashing domang chiur di namthu bui norda thopgyur kyang CB Paljuro Ningpo Mesigne Khenpo Meba Gyalse Laklins. Even though I may be famous and revered by all, and as rich as Vaishravana, the god of wealth himself, to see the fertility of all the fertility of all the glory and riches of this world, and to remain without conceit. This is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. Even if you have achieved fame and wide respect, and are as a wealthy as a Kubera, lot of wealth, Recognize that this worldly prosperity has no essential reality, and be as humble as any ordinary persons. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. Um, so, no matter when when you have, let's say, when you have become so famous, and when you have respect from everybody, um, and then when you are living like a king, and you have all the wealth also, just like Vaisarvana or Kubera, the god of wealth himself. So when you have that kind of the money, that kind of the wealth, that kind of the fame, and that kind of the respect from everybody's, at that kind of the situation, or that kind of the moment, it says that you should not forget that all and everything that you have now is temporary. It's not going to last forever. It's going to go soon, because it's a impermanence. And thinking that and understanding that impermanence, then it says that you should not have any arrogance. Instead of that, it says that react an attitude as ordinary as everybody does. Like as ordinary, and then remains very humble. And being a humble, not having a arrogance, is the practice of the bodhisattvas. Practice of all the bodhisattvas, it says. So basically, here there are four things that everybody wants in this world, and four things everybody don't want in this world. This is the 8 worldly concern, it says. 4: name, fame, praise, and then they want what you want, to get what you want. And then 4 opposite of this. So this is 8. So 8 worldly consent. If we have that 8 worldly consent, then it means we are connected to some selfish intentions. Now that selfish intentions is the anti of this bodhisattvas, bodhisattva practice. Yeah. So getting a famous, respecting others to you, all and everything is the essence that you have to understand is what's that? Futility, futility, or temperament, or temporaries, or impermanence. Okay, by understanding that, the essence of that particular things is futility or impermanent, then behave yourself as humble as possible, as ordinary as possible. So this is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. Now 20. Rangi shetan dao matul na chirol dao tulsing felwar gyur dechir jamdang ingje magpungi rangyu dulwa gelse lagle hins. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to subdue the mind with the force of loving kindness and compassions. For unless the real adversary, my own anger, is defeated, outer enemies, though I may conquer them, will continue to appear. If you do not crush your anger, which is the inner enemy, then the outer enemy will most certainly increase as you try to destroy it. Therefore, tame this inner enemy with the force of loving kindness and compassions. This is the way of bodhisattva practice. Right? Uh, the words that we use here, like loving kindness, compassions, and all of this, each each subject or each topic, each word has so many explanations in different text, in different by different masters. So I'm not really explaining here each and every part, but I'm just going general what has it that books said, hoping and thinking that this will be just the vague informations. Um but um, we can also read the commentary of this 37th verses on the practice of Bodhisattva. There are so many commentary, and then also that each topic has mentions like so many books by different teachers, and you can also read that. So when I say compassions, it's not just the simple words, but it's a big meaning. With compassion itself, you can understand whole practice of the bodhisattvas, where to apply, how to understand, how many types of the compassions that has, all kind of things, and also the loving kindness. When I say loving kindness, kindness, what kind of the kindness that I'm talking about, and what kind of the love that we're talking about. Is this the love that talking about like a girlfriend and boyfriend, husband and wife, or what kind of the love is all about? So this kind of things, there are so many kind of the explanations and commentaries on this book, and then also the explanations. So I suggest to you to try to understand those particular words, and then understand it thoroughly. I try to just give you the vague or general information here, because we don't have much time. We only have the 3-4 sessions, including this Q&A. It's a 5 sessions. So within 5 sessions to complete this 37 verses, it's difficult, to be honest. But I'm just trying to, just give you this outer informations, just create some creates more confusions. So then that gives you more curiosity. How is it possible, how it happens? I must dig in more. So yeah, thinking that, so then I'm just trying to give you the little bit of this information. Okay, so here saying the practice of the bodhisattva is to subdue the mind, subdue the mind which has so much of ignorance, so much of anger, so much of desire, so much of greedy, all of that afflicting emotions, which have been there like generation and generations. So that is the most how to say, the valueless things that we have, and now we have to defeat that, especially the anger. And now anger becomes our enemy. So we have to train by practicing the bodhichitta. Then we're trying to subdue our mind with the force of loving kindness. Now antidote of anger is then the kindness or patience, actually, So patience starts from the loving and kindness. So now anger is the most how to say, danger enemy that we have, because other even in way of the bodhisattva, it has a 10 chapter, and then chapter number 6, the chapter number the patient especially mentions by Santideva. Especially he pointed out the patience for the angers. Why he especially point out the anger is because anger is the most danger that enemy that we have Of course, we have ignorance. Of course, we have the desire. Of course, we have this the jealousy, and of course, we have that what is that greedy pride. But anger is more superior or powerful than all of these five. Because when we get angry, then that destroys our mental state immediately, and that lead us to create all kind of the situation that can kill your dad, that can kill your mom, that can kill your teacher, that can lead you to do any kind of the worst things, the sin things, and then because of that, then you will reborn into the three lower realms, especially the hell realms. So it says that, of course, we have so many enemies, but the most dangerous enemy that we have is the angers. So by practicing this bodhisattva, we have to, and by generating this, with the force of loving kindness and then compassion, we have to subdue this angers or defeat these angers. And this is our inner enemies. This enemy is more danger than outer enemy, it says. Because outer enemies is out there, and if you don't do anything, they are not going to do anything for you. It's the same things. But anger, it's already inside. And that anger, if you could defeat once, then that will never come back again. So that is the one, the beauty of that anger is, if you could defeat one time, if you subdue one time, and you free from that anger, then that's not going to come back again. That's one beauty things. Other outer enemies, no matter how many enemies that you defeat, that much more enemy could come. And never going to end. That continue will appear or continue will come. Thus, in a way of the Bodhisattva, chapter number 6, I think there has, not chapter number 6, I think chapter number 4, there has mentioned one analogy which is very good. If you want to go out to the surface levels, if you want to go out with your foot, and then that all the path has the, what do you call, prick, the thorn, and then if you want to go that path, and then you want to not to prick that thorn to your feet, then only option is to cover by the leathers. So if you want to cover the leathers, the entire universe, so that you can go wherever you want to go, that it is impossible to cover all the surface. But instead of that, if you manage to have the small size of the leather and make that shoes on your feet, and then you can freely travel wherever you want to go, and that will serve the same purpose. Similarly, if you want to defeat the outer enemy, that will never finish. That will come more and more and more. Maybe if you kill someone's dad out of anger, maybe he's died, of course, but then his son, his relatives become your enemy then. And if you try to defeat them too, then their relatives and their families will become your enemies. So that way enemies will increase instead of decrease. But instead of that, if you defeat your angers, if you manage to control your angers and then defeat that, subdue that anger, then it says that no matter how many enemies out there, if you don't really think about them, if you don't really angry to them, then it will serve the same purpose that you kill every enemies that you have out there. So here also saying that the enemy that you have inside is something that you need to defeat or you need to subdue. And to do that, then practice of the Bodhisattva, it says. This is the practice of the Bodhisattva. 21. Debi wen den lencha chudang da jizam chejing seba felwar gyur gangla shencha kewe ngopo nam thangla pawa jelse laglein. The practice of all the Bodhisattva is to return away immediately from those things which brings desire and attachment. For the pleasure of the sense are just like salty waters. The more we taste of them, the more outer thirsty increase. Indulging in the passions is like drinking salty waters. The more you consume, the more your thirsty increased. Your thirst increase. Whatever arouses desire in you, abandon it immediately. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. It's living in this world, having a desire, having a worldly concern is kind of drinking the salty waters. If you are thirsty and if you drink, if you want to kill the thirsty, of course, that's the only option is to drink water. But then if you drink the salty water, that will not kill your thirsty, but that will increase more thirsty again, because salt is the cause of that thirsty, that desire. So similarly, having the eight worldly concern, and having a desire, and then having all kind of the name and fame, and then get what you want, and praisings, all of that is kind of the desire that you have. So if you have that kind of desire, that desire will never, never be enough. And that will go on and on and on. So then you will always suffer to satisfy yourself, and that will never satisfy. So desire and attachment is something that you never satisfied. Now how you can do that is like understanding the satisfactory or the contentment or content. Having a content is the most important. And here it's saying that when you have that kind of the desire and attachment, which increase your five senses, mainly the five senses. When you see things, then you desire increase. When you hear something, that desire will increase. When you smell something, that desire will smell. And when you taste something, that desire will increase. When you have that pleasures, then desire will increase. So not to let increase that kind of the desire, then what you have to understand is contentment is the most important part at that point. And then also, when you come desire those kind of things, understanding all that object which desire and attachment comes, it says that you should immediately abandon those kind of the object. If you abandon those kind of the object, then it says that you will be free from this attachment and desires, and then slowly that desire and attachment will decrease. So that is the practice of all the bodhisattvas to abandon immediately that kind of the object. 22. Jidra nawa deda rangi semni döni töbi tadang dal dengi sheni sungjin semanam hilami jigelse laglains. The practice of all the bodhisattva is never to entertain concept which revolve around dualistic notions of perceiver and perceived. In the knowledge that all these appearances are but the mind itself, whilst mind's own nature is forever beyond the limitations of ideas. whatever you see is the reflections of your own mind. The sense of mind has formed that the beginning, the essence of mind has the form, the beginning, been free of conceptual limitations. Having recognized this truth, free your mind from grasping at phenomena and clinging to thoughts. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. So, this is the mainly they talking about the mind only schools thoughts. The Chitta Matrin says that whatever you see today out there, this is nothing but the projection of your mind. When you now just before we talk about the object of desire. Now, if the question arises, why did we need to abandon the object? Why we let's say consume, or why we use the object as your tool. Of course, we're using object as a tool, but in reality, that object that you see out there, as you believe, as you see it, it's not as it is. Whatever you see out there, whatever the appearance that you have out there, it's nothing but the projections of your own mind. For example, that you see the beautiful that banner here, you see the beautiful clothes, beautiful thankas in this room. You see it's a lot of the shape, some of them the triangle shape, some of them square shape, some of them like big shape or small shape, some of them are long shape, some of them are short shape. So all that shape and colors, the whatever that form, that object, that the physical form that we have, it's shape and colors. Only two things, shape and colors. So those both shape and colors also, if you investigate, it's not exist. That created by our mind, that the projections of our mind. So the first number one things that we need to understand this, that everything, whatever we see out there, is not exist, and this is the projection of our minds. And now when you talk about the mind, what is the nature of mind, what is the reality of mind, then mind is free from elaborations of selflessness, empty by natures. Now, when you be able to understand the mind is primarily free from elaborations, mind is primarily selflessness, empty by nature, then now all those kind of the objects that you have desired, all those kind of that object that you have anger, all those kind of things you have greedy or jealousy or pride, all and everything you see as a meaningless, because that doesn't have any entity, that doesn't have any natures, essence, that doesn't have any essence. So now, by understanding the nature of mind, then also understand the perceiver and the perceive, the appearance and then the subject and object, both also not exist at all. So when you be able to understand this kind of the concept in your mind, then you will be free from this kind of the attachment, desire, and you will be free, and you will be able to go beyond these ideas, beyond these limitations. And also it says that in Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings, why he taught the teachings is because he want to eliminate all kind of the ideas. Today, because of we have the idea and we are sufferings. On top of that, because we have the wrong idea, wrong view, so then we suffer more. Because of having a wrong view, you create the wrong karma, let's say. Because of that wrong karma, and then you suffer more. So now the very best of the eliminating this kind of the wrong options is by understanding the true nature of that phenomena or true nature of that mind. And by understanding those natures, then you can go beyond these limitations, go beyond these ideas. Then you will be free from the suffering of samsara. I mean, like the dualistic notions. So this is the practice of the bodhisattvas. Basically, the mind trainings. 23. Hidungwe yuldang tebana ergi dugi jachun jisin do jebran nayang dembar mitashing shenchak pong yalse laklains. The practice of all this bodhisattva is to let go of graspings when encountering things one find pleasant or attractive, considering them to be like the rainbow in the summer skies, beautiful in appearance, yet in truth devoid of any substance. Attractive phenomena are like a rainbow in the summer sky. When you meet with them, however lovely they may be, don't take them to be a real, but abandon your desire and attachment. This is the way of bodhisattva practice. So now when you have, everything is nothing but the projection of your mind, and then the nature of your mind is, free from all kind of the ideas, or free beyond the limitations. There is no perceiver and there is no perceive. Free from all the elaborations, empty by nature and selflessness. Then whatever kind of the object or attractive or the things that you encounter or pleasant things that you encounter, you immediately understand that doesn't have any essence. Just like at the summer times, because summertime we have a lot of rains, so when we have rains we have also rainbow. If there is no rain, I think there's no rainbow also, no? So at the summer times, there are so many rainbows which has 7 colors, maybe sometimes less than that, sometimes maybe more than that, but then mainly there will be the 7 colors or 5 colors or 7 colors. And when we see from far, when the rainbow appears in front of us, it looks so beautiful. But then if you try to go closer and then try to play with that, try to grab with that rainbow, then that will disappear. That's just for the view, just for the appearance, it look nice. But then if you go closer, if you go near there and then try to catch or try to grab that things, you won't be able to do that. Similarly, when you see the attractive and pleasant things at in this world, consider them like the rainbow in the sky at the summertime in the sky, and you should understand that is nothing has the essence and nothing going to last forever, and that's let's say no useful or doesn't have any realities. So considering that or understanding that, then you should not have attachment and desire, and then also aversions. aversions and desires towards that kind of the particular appearance. By understanding in that no truth, in that devoid any truth, substances. By understanding that, then it will help you to reduce the aversions and then attachment. And 24. Dungal na milam bushi tar tul nang dembr zunga athang checks. Dechir mitun kendang tebitse tulbratawa gelse laklins. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to recognize the delusions. Whenever one is confronted by the adversity or misfortune, for those sufferings are just like a death of child in dream. And it's so exhausting to cling to delusory perceptions as real. The suffering of samsara are like the imagined or the death of a son in dream. If you grab at your deluded experience as real, it is pointless and tiring. Therefore, when meeting with unfavorable circumstances, see them as illusions. This is the way of bodhisattva practice. So since now you have understand all and everything that you experience in this world or you see in this world, none other than the projections of your mind. And your mind is primarily free from all kind of the characteristics, selflessness, and empty by natures, free of elaborations. Then, experiencing, having kind of sufferings, and then having assumptions of something real, and then get attached to that, it's kind of pointless. Just like you have a dream, and in dream you have son, and in dream your son is died. And now when you wake up, you just that was the dream, and then in dream your son is died, but actually you never had any son and you never had that experience. But after you wake up again, if you really feel sad that, oh, my son is died and this and that will be the pointless, because you never had a son. That was the dream that you dreamed, and that son was died in the dream, not in the real. So similarly, now we have understand all and everything that we appears out there, we experience, we see, we feel, we experience each and every sense and each and every part and each and every the moment are not other than the projections of one's own mind, and our mind is primarily free from all kind of the characteristic, all kind of the elaboration, and then empty by nature and selflessness. Yet, if you really have the grasping, attachment, and all of that, and aversions and all of that, this is kind of this pointless that you are doing it. You will never be able to satisfied, or you will never be able to bring it all together and then make it real. So that will just exhaust you. So instead of that, to understand those all and everything that you have a concept and that you have assumptions, and then all that things, the attachment or aversions or whatever that is, to understand those are the delusions, is understanding of that kind of thought is the practice of all the bodhisattvas. And now 25. Jangchu debe lu yang tango na Chirol ngo bonam la me chigo techir lendang namin mirewe jibaton yalselani. Now from here, then it will start the six transcendent practice. Transcendent, right? Six transcendent, six paramita practice. The practice of all the bodhisattva is to give out of generosity with no hopes of karmic recompense or expectations of reward. For if those who seek awakening must give even their own bodies, what need is there to mention mere outer object and possessions? It says. Possessions. If you wish for enlightenment, right? If you wish for enlightenment, you must give up your own body, not to mention other things such as wealth and material possessions. You should give with unceasing generosity, without any hope of repayment. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. So in order to attain enlightenment, even you have to, give your own body to, attain that levels. Like here we're talking about the generosities. So in generosity, there are the three types of the generosity. One is the generosity of givings, the materials, the maybe wealth, or maybe any position that you have. And another generosity is the saving someone's life, saving from fears. We have the rescue team kind of things. When somebody is try to kill some things, or somebody is in dangers, some kind of the losing their life, if we could go there and save them, rescue them, this is called the second type of the generosity, saving someone's life from the dangers. And third type of the generosity is then giving the good instructions, the dharma teachings. This also consider the generosities, one of the best generosities out of these three. So to do that, then maybe there are so many, I think, examples or story that where Bodhisattva has given his own life. Maybe you have heard about the Shakyamuni Buddha's life story, where he cut his own the flesh and then gave to tigers to save their tigers that's hares, or that's other, what do you call it? Cubs, yes, small, tiger's son and daughter. Okay. So that is the practice of the Bodhisattva. So in order to attain the enlightenment, you have to fully experience or understanding others' need, others' sufferings, and you have to willing to give them everything to benefit to all the sentient beings. So here saying, if you have to give your own body, and you should not give up doing that, then what need to be mentioned to give up just the material and then some position that you have as a generosities. This is the practice of the Bodhisattvas. It says, and then now second is the morality. 26, sorry. Suldim meber rangdun midubna shendun dubar duba gemo ne techir sipi dumba mebai suldu soma jalse laklins. The practice of all this bodhisattva is to observe ethical restraint without the slightest intentions of continuing in samsaric existence. For lacking discipline, one will never secure one's own, even one's own well-beings, and so any thoughts of bringing benefit to others would be absurd, right? Absurd. If lacking in moral discipline, you cannot achieve even your own benefit, then to think of benefiting other is simply a joke. Therefore, guard your moral discipline and stay free from worldly purpose. This is the way of Bodhisattva practice. So now, uh, when we talk about the moralities, again here we're talking about how to preserve, how to maintain our the bodhichitta vow from losings. You know, um, once you have precept, once you have received the vow, there is the precept, and precept, especially the main precept of this bodhichitta is not harming others. And then to not to harm others, then you need to have the discipline, the reasons basically, reason and disciplines. So here what it's saying is to simply to having simply to the as a one individuals, as a self or individuals, if you want to gain something in your life, I think that is in business or even in any kind of the things, it's the discipline considered very important. Self-disciplined, it says. So even one's own well-beings, if you have to maintain your discipline, then to benefit to all the sentient beings, of course, you must maintain this discipline. If you don't maintain your discipline and how to say ethic, then saying that helping to all the sentient beings will be like a kind of joke, that you are trying to you are saying something that you want to do something for all the sentient beings, but then in a reality you are not really maintaining any moral discipline. So it means you are not be able to help to all the sentient beings. So just saying want to help to all the sentient being will be kind of the joke, because you are not really being able to maintaining even your discipline. So if there is no discipline, there is no benefit to all the sentient beings. That is what it's really saying. So even if you have to gain something for yourself, if you have to maintain your discipline, then there is no need to maintain the discipline to benefit all the sentient beings. So the practice of the Bodhisattva is to observe ethical restraints, or this maintaining the disciplines. So this is the practice of all the Bodhisattvas. Okay, so I think I'm going to. I think it's time is over, so I'm going to stop here, and then I will finish this tomorrow. So hopefully I can finish this tomorrow.